Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR. Mac and me, my name's TJ. Thanks, everyone, for your support. Uh, just a quick plug for Rumble. We're on Rumble. You can find us under MI Conservative Roundtable, all one word. Okay? All right. As on to the topic here. I know we're a few days old on this, but I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and observations regarding State of the Union. And, Mac and me, we're just two regular people watching stuff play out and can't help but, you know, have certain thoughts and observations on, from really a common man's perspective. And personally, I'll confess to this much right off the bat. I watched it just to see if he could finish it. Okay. I mean, I would not have been surprised if at some point he just went into mental lockup, like just froze.
Right.
Giving credit where credit's due, the man lasted 67 minutes from what I'm told. I know
Right.
it was a little over an hour and he stood there. So good job for him at least being able to do that, I guess. But me personally, I saw a crabby old man ranting. That's what I saw. Okay. Your thoughts so far, Mac?
Well, you could say a
Okay. Your thoughts so far, Mac?
a scarecrow stands in the cornfield in the same way that Biden does. On some, no doubt, some amphetamines or some type of speed to keep him going, because we've all seen him. We all know what he is. So I'll tell you, I did not watch the State of the Union like yourself, but I just didn't want to sit there and listen. And what I did read about it kind of confirms that I was right. Just a pack of lies from this guy, because that's all he can do is lie.
And
He
you're
surely can't
absolutely,
tell the truth.
yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why I confessed to watching it just to see if he'd lock up, because I guess in a perverse sort of way, I was looking for that, you know,
Well, I think the
and
big question in America was he going to blow his diaper?
yeah, he got there 10 minutes late, and I got mixed news reports on that. They said pro-Hamas protesters were blocking his route, but I got to wonder if maybe the media wasn't just running cover for his tardiness. Of course, because the media is so tied to the Democrat Party, you immediately have suspicions of that nature, whether in fact that happened or not. You know what I mean?
I don't believe anything they say.
Yeah. So he was late getting there. Now he was. Did you? Okay. You said you didn't watch it, but as I was watching, I think it's a sergeant at arms that announces him or something.
Correct.
Okay. All right. It took him like 10 minutes to get down to the aisle to the podium, and I say about 10 minutes because at first I wasn't watching the clock. But then I thought, my gosh, it's taking him forever to get down the aisle. And then I started watching the clock. And from the time I started watching the clock, it was over 5 minutes from the time I started watching the clock. You
Well, he's
know?
not very ambulatory, and everybody's got to stop and shake his hand and blah blah
Oh,
blah.
he was handing out
Kiss his ring.
hugs and kiss. He was kissing all the ladies, and oh my
Oh
goodness,
yeah, sniffing
oh
their
my
hair.
goodness. Yeah, it was. And like I said, it took him like 10 minutes to get down the aisle to the podium. Okay. Uh, Here's a bit of tidbit, and I knew one for sure, but I didn't realize the other two. You know, three justices just didn't bother attending.
I wasn't aware. And who were
Yeah,
they? It's interesting.
Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett, and Samuel Alito did not
Well, they're supposed to
attend.
be there, and I would say they should have been.
Well, when you think of the history between Biden and Clarence Thomas, I'm not going to fault Clarence Thomas.
Oh no, I understand it, but if you want to look like you're not biased, you should have been there. I
Well,
would say they should have been there for the sake of optics.
Did you hear about him basically threatening the justices?
I did not.
Okay, he's talking about abortion. Okay, and he's referencing one of the guests of honor was up there sitting next to Dr. Jill, and so President Biden's going on and on and on about how this lady had to cross state lines just to exercise her reproductive rights. But
Which she
basically she
doesn't
had to
have
cross.
under the Constitution. She doesn't have that. It's a states'
Well,
rights issue. So you know what? If I want to buy, let's say, marijuana in my state, and it's banned, then I got to go to another state. What? How is abortion any different?
well, basically she had to cross a state line to kill her baby.
Ooh,
You
boo
know, is
hoo.
is how I put it. But anyways, in that topic, in that context, as he's talking about that, he begins to lecture the Supreme Court justices who did attend, who were like in the front row from what I could see.
That's
Okay, so
usually
they're
where
like
they sit.
right
Yeah.
there. And he's going, you're going to find out the women have political power and this and that. And he goes, and you're going to find out.
He's gonna find out how. It's a lifetime appointment. What's he gonna do?
Well, and I'm, again, and I'm going to go back to my earlier statement of, we're just common Joe blows. And I heard that and I thought, holy cow, listen to this guy. Does he not realize there's three equal branches of government?
No, he thinks he's king.
And
If he thinks anything.
I was just I and that's when it was at that point I'm like a shell of a crabby old man on a rant. Okay?
Right.
Just a shell of a crabby old man on a rant. Later on, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she kind of lured him into a verbal whatever. When at the beginning when Biden was making his way down the aisle, I told you it took 10 minutes. Marjorie Taylor Greene somehow navigated close to that aisle and was able to hand him, I think, some kind of a button or sticker regarding, the unfortunate murder of Laken Riley, that Georgia nursing student. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when he was talking about that, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I'm going to use the word heckle because she kind of, you know what, so I don't care that she was, but she was heckling him, saying, she was yelling out, to Biden up at the podium, say her name, say her name, say her name. So Biden, he's gonna show Marjorie Taylor Greene, but there's a little problem. He says her name wrong.
Of course he does.
You know,
Would you expect him to get it right?
Yeah, instead of Laken Riley, he says Lincoln Riley. And of course, you had some of the news commentators tisking Marjorie Taylor Greene and how it was so improper decorum. Did they forget his improper decorum regarding the justices?
Or Nancy Pelosi's or tearing up the speech. No worries about that though.
Yeah. Well,
double standards as always.
It's at this point I'm compelled to quote Dan Bongino and say cutesy time is over. You're worried about the
I'm not for the heckling. I don't think I think it's a distraction from what he said, which we ought to be focusing on what he said and the lies he told, not this standing up and screaming nonsense to get attention for ourselves.
Well,
I do believe, I know you like her, but I think she's an attention whore.
You know what? For me, she's okay. You know what? I'd rather have her on my side than be against her. But one final thought. Speaker Johnson. I think he only stood once during the speech, and that's when it was brought up about Israel fighting Hamas. But all the other times, Speaker Johnson remained seated, didn't applaud much, and if I could best imitate some of his facial gestures, more than once he did something like this. you know,
Right.
like at the nonsense that was being spewed at the podium by Biden, you know, and
Well, I'm pretty sure this is the last time we're going to have to endure this ass clown up there giving a State of the Union.
well, anyways, you know, like I said, I primarily watched it just in a voyeuristic sort of way to see whether or not he would even be able to finish it. And
Well,
well,
we wouldn't be getting this fine report if you hadn't watched it.
I guess. So that's all I got for this, and hopefully there will be no more of his pathetic State of the Union addresses. You know.
Correct. I think that's going to be the case.
All right, we're gonna call this one a wrap. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.